Hi, I'm Dhruv. I'm a software engineer and I have been building AI products for the last 10 years now. This is my YouTube channel where I break down what's happening in the AI world currently and how you can leverage it for your business. Today, I'm going to answer some of the most common questions asked about AI on the internet. Is AI going to take my job? This question is I see the most. Is AI going to take my job? I'll be straight with you because the comfortable answer doesn't help anyone. AI by itself probably isn't going to replace you. But someone who's really good at using AI, they will. Because they'll get through in an afternoon what takes you a week. And sooner or later, your company notices that. It was never about a robot walking in and taking your chair. It's about the person sitting next to you getting things done 3 times more because they learned these tools before you did. So if you are worried, be honest about your own work. How much of it is the same thing on repeat? The copy pasting, the same report every month, the same email you have written 100 times. That's the part that gets handed to AI first. Now, the good news, these tools are basically free, and learning to actually use them well isn't that hard. You don't need to become a programmer. You just need to be the person on your team who knows how to make them useful. That person isn't worried about any of this because they just made themselves very hard to replace. So no, AI isn't coming for your job, but the people who learn it are coming for it. Just make sure you are on the right side of that. Is it safe to put my business data into these tools? This one's actually the smartest question on the whole list, and almost nobody asks it until after they have already pasted their entire customer list into some random chatbot. The rule I would keep in your head is simple. Anything you type into a free public AI tool, you should just assume that could be used to train it, which means it could end up coming back out somewhere else. So your client records, your pricing, your contracts, anything you would hit to see if don't be dropping that into something you haven't checked first. But I don't want you to overcorrect and decide AI is dangerous and swear off the whole thing because that's not it either. You just use the tools that clearly say they don't train on your data and you keep the really sensitive stuff inside systems you actually control. Most of the serious paid tools let you switch training off. It's the free consumer ones where people get burned because when you are not paying for the tool, you are usually paying with your data instead. So before you paste anything sensitive, take 10 seconds to check whether the tool learns from what you give it. And if you can't find a clear answer to that, treat that as your answer and don't paste it. It's like handing a stranger a folder full of your stuff. You would at least want to know who they are first. Where do I even start with AI in my business? Almost everyone wants to start with the impressive thing. Some big clever automation they saw go viral online. And I think that's the wrong place. Where you actually want to start is with whatever task eats the most of your time but wouldn't really hurt you if the AI got it slightly wrong. So think about stuff like answering the same customer questions again and again, chasing follow-ups on leads, sorting through your inbox, sorting your calendar. All of that quietly eats hours every week. And if the AI messes with one of these tasks, then nobody gets hurt. You just fix it and move on. That's the sweet spot. Something that costs you a lot of time but carries almost no risk. You get those hours back, and just as importantly, you learn how these tools actually behave before you ever trust them with anything that really matters. What I genuinely wouldn't do is point AI at your most important high stakes decision on day one and just hope it works out, because if it slips, it actually costs you. And that's usually how people end up scared of the whole thing after one bad experience. So my honest advice is to keep it almost embarrassingly simple. Pick the one task that's stealing the most time from you this week and get AI handling just that. Once it's working, come back and do the next one. That's really all it is. People tend to overthink this part far more than they need to. What's the actual ROI? Is it worth paying for? People always want a number here, so I give you one. The rough average is going around, say, a small business spends something like $100 a month on AI tools and gets a few thousand back. But I honestly don't find that number very useful because it completely hides the one thing that actually decides your return, which is what you point the tool at. If you point AI at something you do every single day, it will pay for itself within a week. But if you buy some tool just because it was trending and then never really work it into how you do things, and it just quietly becomes another subscription you forgot to cancel. And in that case, the tool didn't fail. You just never gave it a real job to do. So I would stop asking whether AI is worth it as a simple yes or no, because that's not really the question. The better question is, what specific repeating tasks are you actually going to hand it? Once you can answer that clearly, the value pretty much sorts itself out, because the return was never about the tool. It was always about the job you gave it. And if you can't point it to the task that it's meant to take off your plate, then you are just not ready to buy it yet. Figure out the task first, and once you have the right tool to use, it usually becomes very obvious. Why does my AI chatbot make things up? So this is something a lot of people notice pretty quickly. You ask your AI something and it gives you an answer that's just wrong, but it says it so confidently that you actually believe it. The reason it happens is that these tools are basically built to always give you an answer. They don't like saying, I don't know. So when they don't actually have the real answer, a lot of time they just make something up that sounds about right. Like it might tell a customer, you offer a discount you have never offered, or give them a return window that doesn't exist. And it will say it like it's a plain fact. And that's a real problem for a business, because now your customer believes something that isn't true, and you are the one who has to sort it out later. The good part is that you can actually control this. What you do is give the AI your own real information to work from, like your actual policies and your actual product details, and you only let it answer using that. And you also tell it that if it can't find the answer in there, it should just say it doesn't know and pass it over to a human instead of guessing. That one change makes a huge difference, because an AI that's happy to say I'm not sure, let me check, is so much better for you than the one that sounds confident while giving your customers wrong information. Getting an AI to chat is the easy part now. Getting it reliable enough that you would actually let it talk to your customers is the part that takes real work. What's the difference between a chatbot and an AI agent? You are hearing AI agent everywhere right now, and a lot of people are using it to mean whatever they want. So let me just explain the actual difference in a simple way. A chatbot basically just talks to you. You ask it something and it gives you words back. So if you ask a chatbot about a refund, it will tell you how you would go about processing that refund. An AI agent is different, because instead of just telling you, it actually goes and does it for you. It will process the refund itself inside your real systems without you having to do it. So the simplest way to think about it is whether the AI can only tell you things, or whether it can actually go and take real actions for you, like logging into your tools, clicking the buttons, moving money around. Now this is where it gets interesting, and also where you have to be a bit careful. When an AI can actually take actions for you, that's what makes it so useful, but it's also what makes it risky. If a chatbot gives someone a wrong answer, that's annoying, but you can still fix it. If an AI agent takes a wrong action, like refunding the wrong customer or firing off an email to your whole list by mistake, now that's an actual problem you have to deal with. So whenever someone tries to sell you an AI agent, the one thing I would ask then is what it can actually do, not just what it can say. Because a lot of what's being sold as an agent right now is really just a chatbot dressed up to sound a bit fancier than it is. Real AI agents are genuinely going to be a big deal, but for now, you just want to be clear about which of these two you are actually paying for. Should I build my own AI or just buy one? This is a good one to finish on, because people get this decision backwards all the time and end up wasting a lot more money and time. The way I think about it is pretty simple. If the problem you are solving is a common, boring one that basically every business has, then you should just buy something off the shelf. Things like email scheduling, basic customer support, writing first drafts of stuff. Someone has already built a really good tool for that, and it probably costs you like $30 a month. There's no point spending weeks building your own worse version of the same thing you can just pay for. Where it actually makes some sense to build your own thing is when the problem is specific to your business and nothing you can buy really does it properly. That's usually the stuff that makes you different from your competitors. So it's worth having it built exactly the way you need it, because they can't just go and buy the same thing. The mistake I see goes both ways. Some people spend 3 months building a custom version of same thing they could have just paid for in an afternoon. And others do the opposite, where they grab some generic tool for the one thing that actually makes their business special and they can't understand why they don't stand out from anyone else. So don't waste your time building something you could easily buy, and don't try to save a bit of money by buying something generic for the part that's actually meant to make you different. Get that balance right, and it will save you more money than pretty much anything else I've said today. If this video was helpful, please hit the subscribe button and subscribe to my newsletter on week1labs.com. See you in the next one.